has been made in a brutal February murder. Robert Martinez has been charged in the death of Steven Cerna. Cerna's body was found in a drainage ditch known as HELLS in the 1100 block of Shadwell. Police say he suffered several gunshot wounds to his head. Authorities say the shooting was drug-related.
The bulk of testimony today in the HELLS murder trial of Robert Martinez focused on physical evidence, the witnesses, crime scene technicians. Paul Venema tells us that the trial almost took an unexpected turn midway through the morning's testimony.
It's been nearly 3 years since the body of 21-year-old Steven Cerna was found in this near north side drainage ditch. It's a place known as HELLS Gate.
Nobody deserves to be left in a ditch.
Cerna's sister Stephanie says that her brother left home at 3 that morning against his mother's wishes. What troubles the family is not knowing what led to his murder.
It's hard because there's no one that has actually put all the pieces together to say from the moment he left till the moment they found him.
The case went cold until this spring. Based on a tip, officers from the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force arrested Martinez as he walked along West Side Street. Cerna's sister says they share the prosecution's theory on what was behind her brother's slaying.
It was part of a retaliation. Basically, they thought that his cousin or somebody in our family had hurt somebody close to him or even killed somebody close to him.
In his opening statement to the jury, Martinez's lawyer said that this was a case of misidentification, that they've got the wrong guy. At one point, the trial came to a stop. There was a discussion between prosecutors and the defense about a possible plea bargain. It was rejected by the defense and testimony resumed. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
The man who prosecutors say held the key to solving a cold case murder testified today in the trial of the accused killer. His testimony included a chilling account of what's been called the HELLS murder. Paul Venema now with who that witness is and how the prosecution got him to talk.
22-year-old Robert Martinez can only listen as his uncle, 31-year-old Larry Isaac, tells of a phone conversation the two had. It was just days after the body of 21-year-old Steven Cerna was found in this drainage ditch known as HELLS Gate. Isaac asked Martinez to put Cerna on the phone.
He couldn't come to the phone. I was like, why? He's like, because he's in the dirt or something like that.
He said what?
He's in the dirt.
He said that he initially suspected another man had killed Cerna. Martinez's admission, he said, caught him by surprise.
I just didn't want to hear that he did it. I pretty much was trying to get the answer that Chasm did it. But he denied it and said he did it.
As for a motive, Isaac repeated what prosecutors have said all along, that it was a retaliation hit.
I guess one of the victim's cousin had killed his best friend.
Isaac said Martinez told how he lured Cerna into the ditch with a promise to make some drug money.
They walked through the ditch, there's houses right there, and that's when he takes his aim shot and fires at him, and he slumps over, and then he does one shot at him.
Isaac testified as part of a plea bargain. He's jailed awaiting trial on kidnapping charges. For his testimony, Isaac's prison time will be cut short. He was facing a maximum of 20 years. Now he's facing 9. Paul Venema, KSAT 12.
It took a jury just 90 minutes to find Robert Martinez guilty in what's been called the HELLS murder. During closing arguments, both the state and the defense focused on the state's key witness, Martinez's uncle. At issue, Paul Venema reports, was his credibility.
Testifying for the prosecution, 31-year-old Larry Isaac said that his nephew, 22-year-old Robert Martinez, admitted committing what's been called the HELLS murder. Isaac said Martinez told him that he lured 21-year-old Steven Cerna here and shot him to death in cold blood.
Larry really laid it on.
During closing arguments, Martinez's lawyer said that Isaac is not believable, noting that he had an extensive criminal record. And as part of a plea deal agreement for testifying, he had everything to gain. He's jailed facing kidnapping charges.
We can't corroborate even his reasons for being up there, let alone anything he said in his statement. But it was riveting. It captivated.
Prosecutors acknowledged that Isaac was not the ideal witness given his criminal background, but they said he was believable and he was telling the truth.
We all should stand for the truth, no matter who tells it.
Prosecutor Christina Escalona said that Isaac was telling the truth.
He knew he had information, and he wanted to use it to help himself, but he knew he had credible information.
His punishment range in the kidnapping case was reduced from 20 to a maximum of 9 years. Martinez's punishment range is from 5 to 99 years to life in prison. The punishment phase of his trial resumes on Tuesday. Paul Venom on KSAT 12.
Within an hour, the jury in convicted killer Robert Martinez's murder trial had their punishment verdict. 99 years in prison.
Martinez killed a man in what prosecutors called an execution-style murder. Paul Venema following this story from the Justice Center.
Nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves to be executed the way that he executed Steven Cerna.
Cerna was shot to death in a drainage ditch known as Hell's Gate 3 years ago. He was lured there by 22-year-old Robert Martinez, who promised him he would make him some drug money.
This was not an accidental or a reckless shooting. It was an execution.
An execution, she said, in retaliation for the murder of one of Martinez's friends. Martinez claimed that a member of Cerna's family was involved in that murder. The state's key witness was Martinez's uncle, Larry Isaac. He testified that his nephew admitted to him that he killed Cerna.
This was not a retaliatory strike. There's no evidence of that. Not one drop of evidence other than from Larry Isaac, who himself does not know.
Isaac testified for the state in exchange for a reduction in prison time in a kidnapping case pending against him. McRae suggested that because of that deal, Isaac's testimony was not credible. It was, prosecutors countered, as they asked for a life sentence. 99 years is considered the equivalent to life in prison. Martinez will have to do 30 years in prison before he's even eligible for parole. Paul Venom, KSAT 12 News.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Found a good one for us today. We're going to be going to San Antonio, Texas, for what they called the HELLS Gate murder back in 2015. February 20th, 2015, homicide was committed against 21-year-old Steven Cerna. He had left home at about 3 a.m. that morning, despite his mother pleading for him to stay home. The murder went unsolved for a while until a couple months later, 21-year-old Robert Bobby Martinez was arrested for the murder. Now, Hell's Gate is basically just a drainage ditch on the west side of San Antonio. It's at the 1100 and Shadewell Street. Now, Steven Cerna left his house at around 3 a.m. He was murdered around 8 a.m. They said Robert Bobby Martinez shot him 4 times in the head. Authorities at first were basically saying there were some gang ties and drugs tied into this, but number one was retaliation. And it came out basically that the prosecution and the police believed it was a retaliation for the killing of Martinez's cousin, who was murdered. And basically Martinez thought not even that Steven Cerna killed his cousin, but that Steven Cerna's family was involved in the killing. Martinez gets picked up. Now, the entire time, Martinez claimed innocence. The prosecution's key witness was Robert Bobby Martinez's cousin, 31-year-old Larry Isaac, a career criminal who was incarcerated for kidnapping and was looking at 20 years. He cut a deal with the prosecutor that was prosecuting Robert Bobby Martinez for the murder of Steven Cerna. And the deal was you go up there, you testify, you tell us what you know, and you're only going to be looking at 9 years. So less than half to testify against his own cousin. And he did. He said that a phone conversation between him and Martinez 2 days after the murder of Steven Cerna took place. Isaac asked Martinez to put Cerna on the phone, and Martinez said he can't do that because, quote, he's in the dirt. Isaac said he was surprised and actually didn't believe it at first, and he thought that it was another guy that they all knew that did it. And Isaac said on the stand that the motive was because Cerna's cousin killed Martinez's best friend. He went on to say that Martinez told him that he said he shot Cerna once, slumped over, and then put 3 more in him. Obviously, the defense team for Robert Bobby Martinez is going to come out and say, hey, you got a guy here that cut a deal to get less than half time shaved off of his potential prison sentence if he's found guilty, or if he pleads out to this kidnapping case he's looking at 20 years on. And I kind of tend to agree, okay? But there was enough evidence, and stuff like this, you know, and again, I'm not, I don't like to be anywhere near stereotypical or stereotype somebody. But when you mention gang ties and drug ties, it said that Robert Martinez lured Steven Cerna. He said they were going to go to a hotel with the promise of drugs, maybe sell him some drugs, and ended up basically, I'm sure, pulled a gun, got him to go to this place known as Hell's Gates, a drainage ditch, and where he shot him. But in the pictures of Robert Bobby Martinez, you know, just, you hate to say it, but it's the look, man. If you've got tattoos all over and you've got gang ties and you're kind of mean-mugging everybody, juries don't like that. It took them only 90 minutes to convict him, which is not long at all. And Robert Martinez, which most defendants don't, he did not testify on his own behalf in the first phase of the trial, which lasted 4 days. But he did go on to testify after the verdict was read. And then that's when they start to deliberate the penalty phase, okay? At the time when they were deliberating, he was facing anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison. So Robert Bobby Martinez went on to say, quote, "I did not shoot that man," Martinez told the jury when asked directly by his defense attorney, Leland McCrae. He said Martinez testified that he had no relationship with his uncle Larry Isaac, who obviously testified against him, and the famous quote that he told his uncle, "I put him in the dirt." And the defense attorney McCrae reminded jurors in closing arguments that Isaac had a reason to lie about Martinez. He had a reason to lie on his cousin. Well, that didn't work. Martinez gets found guilty, and he ends up getting sentenced to 99 years. And that's where he's currently at. He's currently incarcerated. You saw the interview with Cerna's sister, where she's very upset. And all of this over a possible retaliation killing. And they're saying that Steven Cerna, his family wasn't even involved in the killing of Martinez's best friend. So I feel like there's more to it. That's why I believe the gang ties, almost like Martinez wanted it to be Cerna. Because for them to come out and say there's no connection and they were wrong about that. Obviously, the two knew each other. If they were going to do a drug deal together, or if Cerna was going to buy or sell something to Martinez. So they knew enough to where they could meet up. But I really want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. I feel like there's more to the story that we don't know. I do feel like it's gang ties. Like I said, I feel like it was an opportunity to possibly kill a rival, or somebody that maybe Cerna didn't realize how much Martinez disliked him, and not over this killing, supposedly, that he thinks Cerna's family took place. And I think there was more of it to the gang side of things. So tell me what you guys think below. But there you have it, 2015, the Hell's Gate murder in San Antonio. Thank you.